Stanza 5. Metaphor. Comparison of the sound to the arrows. Here the keen, sharp, metaphorical arrows, rays and beams of light that come from the silver sky have been used. The metaphor beams from intense lamp is also used. The silver sphere here is the morning star. The Venus reference to the sunken sun, that means the dust, and the silver sphere, Venus, the morning star. The bird is free and unlike a human, is at liberty to go where it wants. The poet is jealous of the freedom and liberty of the bird to travel where and when it pleases. The same way that we know that Venus is there during the day, but it fades in the sunlight, the skylark too can be heard but not seen due to its height, as it flies high in the sky. Stanza 6. The poet goes on to say that the voice of the skylark is very powerful. It can be heard both on the earth and the sky, the air. Shelley is absorbed and captivated by the song of the bird, which seems to fill up the whole world. He goes on to compare the song to the night sky, and the moon shines its light on a single cloud that is there. The light of the moon covers the cloud, and the poet goes on to say that the light is so bright that the heaven is too overflowed by that light. The same way the bird's song is so overpowering that the entire universe is covered by it. Shelley compares the loud voice to the single cloud in the night sky. The moon being behind the cloud fills the cloud and the sky with light, and the same light overflows the heaven with light. Shelley uses a lot of similes and metaphors in this poem. Stanza 7. The song of the skylark is so amazing, so mysterious, that we cannot find any comparison. Shelley compares the bird's songs with the raindrops coming from the rainbow cloud, then goes on to say, as compared to the bird's song, they are nothing. The rain of melody is better than the actual rain. The main is not as bright as colorful as melodious as the song of the skylark. A metaphor used here is melody cannot, isn't rain. Stanza 8. The poet compares the skylark to a poet. In the next four stanzas, the poet is using simile, comparing the skylark song to the light of thought of the poet, soothing love of the maiden in a high tower, existence of a glowworm, golden aura of a rose. The poem or the thoughts come to the poet and he writes the same, are put on the paper without taking into consideration the consequences. Wrought means of metals beaten out or shaped by hammering, made or fashioned in a specified way. The poetry is written without invitation and call for the same. Here the song of the skylark is sung without having been commanded or invited. As the poem emerges without anyone asking, out of the pure creative spirit of the poet. Use of the word hymns means songs sung in the place of worship, comparing it with the song of the skylark. The poet is the one that connects us to the hopes and fears that we don't pay heed to. It makes us sympathize with these feelings. He further goes on to say that these feelings are there, but we don't see them as we don't see the stars during the day. It is through the work of the poet that we are made aware of these feelings. The song of the bird and the poems of the poet have the power to call up intense new feelings, to make the people see the world in a new and important way. Stanza 9. The poet uses poetic comparison to bring out the beauty of the song of the skylark. Compared to a maiden princess in a high tower of her palace, the bird is elevated both in terms of flight, high-born, and in a literal sense. She, that is princess, is in love and needs to be comforted. The alliterations used here are love-laden and soul of secret. She is finding comfort in the music. She is alone in her room, that is bower. She is singing to herself, again as the skylark sings to herself and for herself. The poet here connects the skylark with beautiful princesses, the sweet love songs. Bower means shade or enclose a place of a person. Stanza 10. Here the poet compares the beautiful singing sky spirit to a glowworm is now like a worm. Glowworm is like the fireflies. We have the only thing is that they don't fly. Notice them at night, maybe in a damp little valley or dell of dew. The speaker is fascinated with things in nature that make beautiful songs or sights, even when they know no one is watching, when they are unbeholden, as he so poetically puts it. The aerial hue connects the color, that is, hue of the worm's glow to the sky, and the air and the world of the skylark. Like the far away skylark, this little worm makes wonderful things happen. Even when it can't be seen itself, it is covered with flowers and grass and hidden from the world. Stanza 11. Like a rose embowered, it is own in its own green leaves. This is a simile used by Shelley, like a rose embowered. This one compares the skylark to a hidden natural beauty. In this case, it is a rose. The flower's loveliness is cradled and covered up by its leaves. We can't see it, but its beauty still finds a way to reach us. The poet sets up all kinds of little sound echoes in his poem. The use of word embowered here connects to the bower of the princess just a few lines before. The winds steal away the flowers' smell. The scent floats away from the secret beauty of the rose and reaches the people who can't see the flower itself. Again, this is a lot like the skylark, whose beauty reaches in the way of a song, even when the eyes can't see him. The author personifies the winds, calling them thieves. It is as if the rich smell of the flowers was filling the breeze, weighing it down. Heavy winged thieves. The smell of, the very smell of that they have stolen intoxicates the winds. Same is the effect of the song on the poet. This idea that sound and smell and sight and weight are all interconnected and potentially overwhelming is one of the key points in this poem. Smells can be sweet and heavy at the same time, according to the poet. Stanza 12. The rain of spring, vernal showers make a pleasant sound of the twinkling grass. How alive and exciting nature is in this poem, the twinkling grass. This is another pretty nature image, flowers waking up in the rain. There is a little subtle personification here since flowers don't actually sleep. The song of the skylark is better than all that other things in nature. There are plenty of joyous things in nature, glowworms and flowers and raindrops, etc. But the music of the lark, the skylark, goes beyond, surpasses it all.